You are welcome back to my channel once again. I'm Cyrus and this is Tuntum Network. Be kind to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment if you appreciate this episode or if you can relate to the topic of today. And without further ado, let's get into the topic for today. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that roughly 2,500 young men and women, and I repeat, 2,500 young men and women drowned or got missing on the Mediterranean Sea while trying to cross over to Europe last year, 2023? And we just crossed the first quarter of 2024, and yet we've already lost 226 men and women on the same sea, all from Africa. Who are these people? Where are they from? Why are they risking so much? And what are they looking for, ladies and gentlemen? It's sometimes so sad to be an African. Please watch this video to give you a little perspective into the story.
Every day at the moment, 6 people don't make it. Almost 3,000 have drowned this year. But the total arrival figures are just astounding. Now some 500,000 and more, as we know, are coming.
Overcrowded and top-heavy, the wooden fishing boat packed with migrants tipped over, sending hundreds plunging into the sea off the coast of Libya. Some tried to swim, others appeared to be swallowed up by the boat as it capsized.
So according to the most recognized human rights organizations and the human rights watch groups in the world, an estimated number of over 8,565 were the recorded cases of people who died worldwide trying to migrate from one country to the other, either by land or by sea. And one of the disturbing aspects of these numbers has to do with the over 3,700 Africans involved. And these are young men and women and sometimes children, ladies and gentlemen. It is also reported of how black migrants are being traded as slaves in northern Africa and how some are dropped in the middle of the desert to die. And these stories are all over on the internet. Their crime is that they are illegally crossing borders from Niger, Sudan, Ethiopia, and Mali to Libya, Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, en route to Spain through the Mediterranean Sea. They charter illegal boats and smaller vessels to cross over and many times drown on the sea due to the sea turbulence or engine breakdowns. Maybe these northern African countries don't know what to do about the increasing numbers of people flooding their countries in pursuit of making it to Europe. Maybe to them, that's how they deter people from coming over to their countries in that numbers, by dropping some of them in the desert to die. But that can never be right. And AU is always pretending it doesn't see it. Ladies and gentlemen, everything I have described to you here is happening as I speak to you now. Somebody you may know or live not far from may be either contemplating on this trip or may be already set out on it. And the question is why? Why do they have to make this trip after the millionth time of hearing and seeing how people die on that adventure? Africa, why do you have to fall for this? And what's driving us from this great place that God has given us? Is this the fault of the politician? Yes. Does the conflict also contribute to it? Yes. Is famine another factor? Yes. And is it about the desperation to find a better life for our futures and for ourselves and our families? Yes. The answer is yes. So can't we stay behind and be a part of the solution process? To many people, the answer is no. Can these problems ever be overcome? To many people, the answer is still no. And so is this the only way out? Well, I guess those who are to make that trip thought as much. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the questions I have on my mind every time I watch capsized boats on the internet. As many as 60 people are feared to have drowned on a vessel carrying migrants across the Mediterranean from Libya to either Italy or Malta. End of quote. This is from Reuters.com. It is from their news. And this happened on the 14th of March in 2024. This year, just 5 days ago. Their engine apparently broke after 3 days on the sea, leaving their boat to drift for days without food and without water. This was described by a few survivors who were rescued, ladies and gentlemen. Do you really have to make this trip? Is it worth it? How about leaving where you are to other parts of Africa? If you are so bent on leaving, how about not focusing on the pressure from your colleagues to make it and taking your time to develop what you have where you can? Must it always be about get rich or die trying? Don't you know there is a greater chance of you not making it than making it across the sea? And don't you know that not all those who made it across the sea became as rich as you are imagining? Maybe it's about time we reconsidered other alternatives. Ladies and gentlemen, take a quick look at this video. These are the realities on this continent. And it's a shame. It's a shame on our government and our so-called leaders. First is the problem of brain drain of the professionals and the intelligent Africans. And then it becomes a problem of our people doing whatever it takes to leave our countries to somewhere in Europe or in the northern part of the world. What can explain the plight of a country with more resources than the population that still have families that live on $1 per day? What can explain how a president of a country or a state official can direct the resources or revenue of a country towards the sustenance of a select tribe or few people, whilst the large number of people languish in abject need, where there are no roads, no hospitals, no medical care for the sick, where people depend on wild plant roots and polluted streams to survive. Listen, when you are able to eat 3 times a day in Africa, in wherever you find yourself, you should be thankful and appreciative. When you drive in your air-conditioned car to work and your kids are able to enjoy some quality education, ladies and gentlemen, don't take it for granted, because the opposite is the reality of millions of Africans elsewhere. Take, for instance, a country like Niger, where illiteracy is literally over 80% of the population. I won't stop talking about this until there's a real process to initiate a real change. What a shame, ladies and gentlemen. What a shame to have African countries fill out 4 spots on the top 5 most illiterate countries in the world. What will be the destiny of these people with no training, who can't read and who can't write? What kind of society will such people be in? And why wouldn't they want to take their chances trekking all the way to the overseas in Europe? They are already living a hopeless life. And in spite of all these, this is my appeal to you. You don't have to travel. You don't have to take that trip. It's too risky, and I sometimes feel demotivated because I feel my message isn't reaching the people I want them to hear. But I'll ask you that is watching today to help me share it, because there are options of leaving your country to other African countries, and there are other options of changing the way we vote. Don't continue voting the same direction and expect different things to happen. Don't be blinded by constantly voting your kinsmen when you know how deplorable your life is. Try competence. Try other new ideas and allow for a change in your world of politics. I've spoken at length about the quality of leadership in Africa, and I don't want to re-emphasize on that in this episode. Rather, let's focus on what we, the everyday people, can control in our small corner. Let's get education if it's within our reach. Let's choose to come up with solutions to problems in our societies, because that's how we become valuable. And let's avoid the idea of living to impress people with what we have achieved, because the 5 fingers can never be the same height. And that's a very typical proverb in Ghana. I hope and pray that soon these reports of death on the sea and people being treated as objects in the northern part of Africa will be a thing of the past. God bless you for taking time to watch today's episode. Kindly do well to subscribe, especially you that have been watching from time to time, to help the YouTube algorithm push us to as many people as possible. Until I come your way again, it's bye-bye for now.